Here's my preview and prediction of the number 2 seed Michigan versus 3 seed TCU football game. And currently TCU is favored by, Michigan's favored by 7.5, though I know it started at 9.5 initially, and of course it could change along the way as of this recording until the actual game starts. So I want to break it down to you. I tell you something, TCU has the advantage of playing in a lot more closer games than Michigan has. First of all, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games within 10 points, including their loss. While Michigan's had 1, 2 games. So they're more familiar with the close games. Now TCU offensively, they average 40.3 points per game. 200 yards rushing per game. 273 yards passing per game. Third down, they're 40.23%, which is 174. Fourth down, they do go sometimes 14 for 25. Just to throw that stat in. Now defensively, they allow 25 points per game, which that number could be a lot higher. It could be. They allow 149.5 rushing yards per game. And keep in mind, the last 6 games, they have struggled against the run. TCU has. Look at their numbers from the prior games. They give up 235.62 passing yards per game. Third down wise, they're 35.23%, 68 for 193. Fourth down, 19 for 38. Now, special teams. I'm going to go over special teams right after I go over the defense. TCU has 71 tackles for loss. They have 26 sacks on the year. They have forced 17 turnovers, which 14 of those interceptions. So they're really, really good in secondary in terms of intercepting the ball. But they have allowed 69 tackles for loss, 23 sacks. They only given up the ball 9 times this year, 4 interceptions, 5 fumbles. And they even have one of their kicks blocked, too. So that's just a keep in mind deal. Now, TCU has punted the ball 52 times this year for 2,060 yards, which is 39.6 yards, which is not great. The long is 59. 3 of those have been over 50 yards. 15 of those inside the 20-yard line. Now, the most commonly, they're 17 for 20 on field goals, which granted, the most commonly used kicker is Griffin Kell, the one who had hit the runoff field goal as time expired against Baylor, mind you. 16 for 18. I'm going to go over the most commonly used kicker, honestly. 8 for 9 on 30 to 39 yards. 7 for 7 on 40 to 49 yards. 1 for 2 on over 50 yards, which along is 54 yards, but they have one of their kicks blocked. So, just to keep that in mind. Now, Michigan, on the other hand, they average 40.1 points per game, about 40.08, but I'm rounding it out up to 0.1 for the heck of it. So, they do have this slight points per game disadvantage. But they allowed 13.38 though. 13.4 though, which is a clear defensive advantage. They average 243 rushing yards per game while allowing only 85.2. That's a defensive advantage. 210.5 passing yards per game while they allow 191.9. And I know they kind of didn't look great against Purdue, but they still got the job done. Third down wise, 81 for 173, which is 46.8%. 59 for 182 on third down defensively, which is 32.4%. Fourth down, they're 89.47%, like 17 for 19. Now, fourth down defensively, down for 28, 32.1 percent. So, special teams wise, they have punted the ball only 40 times this year. Most commonly used punter punted the ball 38 times. So I'm going to go over his numbers for 1,595 yards, which is an average of 41.9 yards. Longest 62. 13 punts over inside the 20-yard line that have landed in there. 8 of those landed in the 50-yard line. The field goal kicker, Jake Moody, 26 for 32. 10 for 10 on 39 yards. 8 for 9 on 29 yards. I should go in over that number first. 2 for 6 on over 50 yards. Longest 54. One of those field goals blocked. So that's a keep in mind deal. Now, Michigan, they have 70 tackles for loss, which they only allow 56 on a year. 36 sacks, which is good defensively. Well, they only allow 13. They have forced 13 turnovers, 12 of those interceptions. While offensively, they only turn the ball over 7 times. And they blocked 2 kicks while allowing 2 block kicks. So that's just a keep in mind deal. So who do I think is going to win this game? And that game is a neutral site, of course. Ultimately, I do think TCU's luck runs out again for the second straight time. Give me Michigan. Their defense is better, and they're going to be ground and pound and run that clock out as much as you can type of mentality, and TCU won't have an answer for it. But even if they do have like 8 guys in the box, so they still, I still think TCU's pass defense will get burned enough in this game that, hey, if they were smart to go right ahead and do 8 guys in the box. But I just think TCU's flirting with disaster too much. It caught up to them in the Big 12 title game. Let's be fair, it did. And they have caught some breaks, which I'm not going to deny that. And if you don't think so, it's up to you on that. But you got to look at every game. Have they played? They have caught some breaks along the way. Which eventually, you can't win all those one possession games. And games within 10 points. Barely covering spreads. Give me Michigan to the national title game. We'll have to wait and see what it really happens. But clearly, when you have the better defense, it makes sense. Yes, I know TCU has more yards. But this is the best team TCU has faced all year long. Will face all year long. No offense to all the other Big 12 schools. And the non-con schedule for TCU. I'm just being brutally honest. At least Michigan has played Ohio State. That's a lot better. And not to defend Kansas State either, because they're a top 10 team now, I know. But Kansas State's right here. Michigan is a higher level. And it's not close. So, I'm sorry. If you like this content, hit the like and subscribe button. See you guys later. It's going to 400 subscribers and more by the end of this year or sometime in the future.